Hi, welcome back to the show. I have a very special guest today. So, just a really quick background. I, Most of you know, my dream was to be a Navy SEAL Force Recon Marine, and in high school, you wouldn't know it, but I ran cross country and wrestled and swam, and I was in a military program for teenagers. And cross country was easily my weakest thing. I wasn't very good. I think my best uh, 5K was like 21 or 20 minutes, and I ran for like 3 years. I was much better at wrestling and much better at swimming. And when I got to college, I swam on the team. I swam butterfly, and then I was self-taught weightlifting and basic gymnastics like ring stuff. And when I found CrossFit, obviously I fell in love with it. But even within CrossFit, whenever there was running or run 5K or run the 800s, I always sucked at them. And whenever I would try to run regularly, I always wore the thick padded shoes, and my left knee would get injured, or I would have right IT band issues. And so even when it felt like I was on a good roll, I would get injured, and it would be frustrating. Then I couldn't run, and I couldn't get better, and that cycle continued. Even though I got better at the weightlifting and better at the gymnastics, and maybe even better at rowing, the running thing always plagued me. But CrossFit at that time was expanding very heavily, and there was a guy named Brian McKenzie who they started bringing in experts from weightlifting, like Mike Bergener from Olympic lifting and Mark Ripito at the time, and now it's Louis Simmons. But then at the time they brought in this guy Brian McKenzie, who I met, and they had this 2 day like running endurance thing where they talked about running technique and nutrition and programming. So I went, and it changed everything. I'd never been taught, or I've never been the idea of running as a skill was never like a thing that was introduced to me. So I was I was mind blown. So after that, he kept talking about a guy who taught him named Dr. Romanov, and the more I dug in, he would always say that he would video us running and then go through our technique, and then he would always say that Dr. Romanoff would take a little bit and just have a whole day and just talk about that. Like he could pick you apart, and then pretty soon Dr. Romanoff himself actually started getting involved in the CrossFit community, and it was awesome. So uh, sometimes you would do like 1 hour, 2 hour things here or there for different gyms. And then one day you went to CrossFit LA, which was my old gym, which was Andy Petranic's, and then it became Kenny Kane's. And at the time, I owned a gym, and I brought a bunch of people with me. I don't know if you remember it. It was like this 1 hour thing, um, but uh, it's there was a moment. There was like a 1 or 2 year period when all I did was study everything you wrote, and he's written several books, coached however many athletes. He travels around the world and very in demand. But I'm so excited to have you on the show. Thank you so much, Dr. Romanoff, for coming on the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here and share my limited knowledge, let's say
Oh
like that.
no. Um, so you're most known for being the founder and head coach of the pose running method. I'm wondering if I can try to relate my interpretation of the pose method, and you correct me as needed. So my understanding is that for every sport like ballet or karate or CrossFit or basketball or running, there are ideal positions that the body can get into that is most efficient for that sport. And so therefore the pose method of running is simply the running version of the pose methodology. And uh, would that be a fair like place to start as far as
Yes, it's in a simple way. It's quite okay to say it like that
Mhm.
because the key element in all of these mentioned sports is still the same thing. It's pose.
Yes. So whether you're doing a snatch and clean and jerk, or if you're running,
Right.
there are body positions that
Defining this movement.
yes. And
On,
so
on,
what's revolutionary to us, but maybe not you, is that people don't think of running as having ideal positions. They just think of running as running.
right. It's kind of um, blurry vision of running, or simplifying to the level which become not clear what we are talking about.
Yes. Um, so I kind of pride myself on being able to look at a coach and the coach's coaching style, and most of the time I'm able to watch it after a little bit, and then I myself can adapt that style and apply it uh, to my charges. But you are the only one whose style I cannot model because, and I don't know if you do it on purpose. I'm sure you do, but every time I watch you coach somebody, you you take them to a place that's very emotional. Like you get them very frustrated, and then once they're frustrated, then you give them this one like Master Yoda trick, and all of a sudden they're completely mind blown, and everything has changed. I don't see that style with a lot of coaches, and I've been around some of the best. Is that is that how you've been taught, or is that just simply a way that is that something you found just works best for you?
Um, it's a it's a good question. From one side, it's easy to answer, but from another point of view, if I would like to express more on this matter, it requires a whole presentation.
Yes.
Uh, Complexity of movement is is a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it, I am coming from track and field, where that complexity was a big obstacle. Because
Okay.
when you are teaching high jumping, for example,
Yes.
it's incredibly complex movement and very, very difficult in perceptive way,
Yes.
or shot put or javelin throwing. Because I developed pose method not for running first.
Oh,
It was developed for track and field technical events,
interesting.
because it's in a traditional way. It was very difficult to teach my students on the special faculty where we're teaching track and field events, technical events, like different styles of high jumping,
Yes.
different five different, uh, three different styles on long jump, and so on, the triple jump, hurdles, uh, shot put, javelin,
Yeah.
discus throwing. It's all technical events,
Yes.
and it's or pole vault. It's We have to ask our students to uh, perform these things without basically giving them opportunity to learn this.
Yes.
Because time frame what is given in the program very short,
Yes.
and they have to go through this really trouble,
Yes.
and then pass this exam.
Right.
It's incredible. I feel ashamed that I'm asking students to do something what I'm not delivered to
I
them,
see.
because it takes years to learn these technical events. So that problem was so incredibly devastating for me,
Yeah.
that I start think how to develop something universal, first of all,
Yes.
accessible to anyone, clear, and would make much more efficiency in short time frame to
Yeah.
deliver something very clear message how you have to perform.
Yes.
That was a background.
Yes.
Running is follow into
Right.
on the way. It's easiest part,
Yes.
it become only requested mostly. I would easily would go happily with high jumping, but
Yes.
nobody asks high
Yes.
jumping, because it's only few high jumpers who are really required. Because at present time, I see how people jump on high level.
Yes.
Ugly, absolutely ugly.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's my conclusion after last World Championship. Right now was in Doha in Qatar.
Mm-hmm.
And I was unfortunately frustrated
Yes.
how people jump.
Th-
So coming back, so I started digging into these things, and I was young. I was new to this field in terms of teaching. I was coming from the athletic performance field.
Yes.
I was high jumper myself.
Yeah.
But I thought this is an illusion.
Yes.
That I am performing myself,
I
and
see.
I was illusion or delusional
Right.
that I know how to teach.
Yes.
and and then I got very hard punch, that
Yes.
actually I don't know.
Yes.
It was a frustrating part. So as a young teacher, it was painful
Yes.
the experience. So I started digging into the science and the experience, and I found nothing
Hmm.
there about method.
Right.
Method as teaching was didn't exist.
Yes.
Exist what we call method. It was just a bunch of approaches of description of exercise, the set of drills, but not method.
Yes.
And plus it was not universal. Like
Right.
in high jumping, people teaching like that, in long jumping like that,
I
and so
see.
on. Like each event own realm of
Yes.
troubles. So I was going to overcome this problem, and I found I was lucky guy in this case, really. But because the key was a ballet.
Yes. I was going to ask you about that.
But this is what um, I was fortunate that I was having friendship with the ballet dancers, very
Yes.
high level
Yes.
guys, professional, because they were my friends
Yes.
and ballet producers.
Hmm.
It's happened like this. I was involved in this. First of all, I love ballet,
Yes.
It was a pleasure and the professional interest
Yes.
kind of coincide together. And these guys were keen to give me inside work,
Yes.
look all these things. So I studied ballet, and I found actually there are only 5 major positions what ballet is. Build up on that thing. I was start thinking, oh God, it's in the one day in 1977, it came up the concept and the word pose. That actually it's about all poses, and any movement is a poses.
Hmm.
Many poses, most of them not important, but there are key poses what defines this movement. If you're not reaching this pose, it will be not high jump.
Hmm.
It will be something ugly things,
Right.
but not high jump.
Right.
So I start go through the study, through the mostly it's elite, because amateurs didn't exist at all. So I start looking for commonality of these things, and I start go through the movies, like frame by frame, and start look at what it could be most important body position, which I
Awesome.
call pose,
Yes.
and I found it.
How old were you at this point?
I was young and handsome.
Oh, okay. 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 Fair enough.
I
Fair enough.
mean,
But you were still. This
I
was
was
still.
26 when
Oh,
I
okay.
found this. I was 26.
So I'm trying to. So you were coaching track and field, but you had friends in ballet,
Yes,
and
right.
so you looking at ballet and looking at track and field, and then realizing on the one hand there's no available method by
Mhm.
which you could be a coach yourself,
Right.
and at the other hand, noticing in ballet that the positions are very important,
Yes, right.
and you just uh, synthesize that in your own mind,
Right.
and that became pose.
It's correct.
Wow. And this was still in Russia, and you were 26.
Yes. When it came up inside this enlightenment, let's say like that,
Yes. Yes.
I was 26,
Mm.
but it's happened before as well. It's 3 years I was going through this process.
So when did you? How old were you when you moved to America?
I was 41.
Okay, so you had the light bulb moment when you were 26,
Yes.
and you had from 26 to 41 to refine
Yes.
that.
I finished my PhD.
Yes.
I become head of the department, head coach, and many things like that. I got married. I was father of 4.
Wow.
So it's lots of things happen.
Yeah. So because I know when something revolutionary comes out, of course there's going to be resistance,
Oh,
right?
not
So
resistance. It's a fight.
because because I was around when CrossFit first came out, and there was so much resistance and fighting and accusations, untrue accusations, like
Unfounded.
unfounded, right? Yeah, it's dangerous, and they won multiple cases against facetious, a lot of things.
It's
So
mostly it's envy.
yes, yes. So I'm wondering what kind of fights did pose come up against as you're trying to spread the message?
I will summarize in the words of my colleague from
Uh-huh.
Moscow. Um, I wanted to do my PhD on pose method. Kind of, I thought second PhD,
Yes.
because I did. I came to my friend who was a high level scientist and in an administration and scientific. It's called All Russian Sport Science Research Institute.
Mm-hmm.
And I came here and asked, could I do this, my next the level of
PhD.
PhD?
Yeah.
Like, he told, no, 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 no. They will bury you alive.
Really? Just the institution.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Because
it's supposed to be an institution of
right. It was so against the current vision of movement,
yes.
and it was rebelling.
Yes.
He told, don't even try. They will bury you alive.
Wow. And so you chose to instead just self-publish.
Right.
And
I started teaching in my university, and I had incredible success over there.
okay, so you just did it.
Yes.
And so
right.
when you started teaching in a university, did the university try to stop you?
No, I was the head of the department.
I see. Good for you.
It was in my power.
Yes.
So my colleagues, they were my students,
Yes.
and I taught them.
That makes sense.
And so I was successful at that time. But when I left, it disappeared.
Okay. So that leads me to my next, because obviously that's a large accomplishment. And when you were head of the university, and therefore you had carte blanche on whatever you could do.
Right.
But then you're 41 and you move to America. Right. So that's a big decision. You're already America. So my question is why move to America?
Oh, it was accident basically.
Accident. Okay.
No, we didn't plan. It was my older daughter married American.
I see.
That we went to Miami Beach for the wedding and 2 weeks vacation with the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't plan. We came with only dress for the wedding. We didn't brought even no papers, anything.
Yes.
With only passports. That's it.
Yes.
And all kids.
And so you can't. So, but why move to America? Like it's just a wedding. That was just a wedding in
yes,
America.
Right. But this is what provocative things. We had no plan with my wife. She was a PhD in English philology, and she was the head of the department in university on foreign languages as well. So we were well established
yes.
family in our city. So when we came in this wedding, suddenly my two older kids, my daughters, who married already, she already was in University of Miami student, but young one told, rebelling, like, I'm not going back. We're like, oh, shock,
Mm-hmm.
And then my former son-in-law telling, why are you going back? And something like that, provocative yes. too. I told, we have our life is there.
Yes.
I told, yeah, but here could be your life too, But I told, we have nothing here. We have no even our papers of like our PhD things and so on. He thought, all right, you will bring it later. So, and two daughters basically in US and going back, it was a very tough time when we made this decision because we didn't know what it will be.
Yes.
Or it's failure completely, disaster, and we're standing with no ground for us, like no people who will support except our in-law. But it was kids, and we talked with wife, and we made this decision.
Yeah, because that's not a move a lot of people would make. Because you're very established and you have a.
I'm looking back now. I'm thinking, oh, I was silly.
How would you? So that means you lived here for a long time. A lot of people rarely travel outside of America, but you are the child of another country, and yes. You're looking at America as an immigrant, like as a
Right.
non-American. So from the outside and now from the inside, what is the difference that you see between Americans and say Russians, or like what is the culture difference between America and Russia?
Is it, you see, this is both countries which I love
Yes.
because Russia is my is called mom,
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
mother. You know, whatever is mom, bad, good, is still mom.
I see.
I will never betray
Yes.
Russia, you know, and I will never go with bad things on Russia. No, it's against my ethic.
Hmm.
But America is my home,
Yes.
and I will not go bad about America too. You know,
Yes.
I will defend America with my um, uh, appreciation and my gratefulness what America gave me. You
Okay.
know, I could be not in favor of some presidents. I don't give a shit about
Yes.
this.
Yes.
But America is not president.
Yes.
It's a country. It's a people.
Hmm. Hmm.
Where I have lots of people who love me and whom I love too.
Yes.
My friends, my colleagues who support me, who gave me this life, you know.
Yes.
And my appreciation is uh, complete, no boundaries, you know. So I'm in kind of these things. I always call myself I'm Russian American.
I see. Fair enough. Uh, so do you go visit Russia often?
Yes, right. And there's no problem to go back.
Yes.
If you have money, to go.
Of course.
Or time.
Of course.
Time is for me most difficult part right now.
Yes. So when you came to America, obviously you had to start over, and you started to
Not
teach pose
over.
again.
It's empty.
Empty, yeah, completely. Like there's nothing. You have nothing. Like,
Nobody
no.
knows me.
Right.
Nobody give a damn about me.
Right. Did you have the books already, or you?
No,
Or,
no.
okay.
I had some brochures, papers, different articles in back in Russia,
Yes.
but nothing in America.
So what? So did you start teaching at a university? Or,
No, nobody wanted me
Oh.
because I'm alien. Do you understand?
Yes.
First of all, uh, and I'm coming with such a radical idea that people. What do you think? American different from Russians
I see.
in the science community?
I see what you mean.
No,
Right.
not at all.
Right.
It's the same people.
Same. Yeah.
It-
Same mind.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Same
No matter
close off.
how they talk in different language, but mindset is absolutely the same.
The same. Yeah. They don't want an upset of the.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was not accepted even in gyms because when they are asking me, like, I thought my degrees, my achievement as a high level, world class level coach would
Yes.
be plus. It was minus,
It
you
was
know.
minus.
The one guy told me, the owner of gym, which I came him for employment, he told, I don't need PhD in my head, on my neck.
Wow.
You see, I'm like, okay, forget about my PhD. This is my diploma
Yes.
just from university. He's like,
Yes.
it's still too much. Our coaches here with just a certification.
Wow.
They don't have even bachelor degrees.
Right.
I'm like, and plus I know who you are.
That is terrible.
Yes, it was painful.
That is terrible. But it's probably for the best because.
I guess so.
No, yeah, what I mean.
Now,
Yeah, because what I mean is these days, especially because of the internet and because of open source sharing,
right.
the colleges and universities are not the only places where you can get information. Now, in fact, it's probably the opposite, which is
No, luckily I found people, or they found me,
yes,
who understood the value of what I am bringing, and they invite me, and I become in 1994. I start work with the junior national team in the USA Triathlon. In 1995, I became um, a member of USA coaching committee.
Mhm.
One foreigner, and
Yes.
and plus I didn't have by that time even green card. I had only
Good for you. Yeah.
permission for the work, you know,
Yes.
like working visa.
How did you find those people?
They found me.
They found you.
Yes, it's not me.
Oh.
I don't know whom to find, but accidentally it's happening. The one legend in track and field, Bob Beeman, knew my name, and he mentioned my name to someone. The guy came to me. I told him. He told, "I need you," and he brought me to the
Amazing.
Colorado Springs.
Amazing. And from there, they treated you very well. They gave you everything.
More than I would expect.
Oh, good. Did you still keep in touch with them? And
Yes, it's still my friends.
awesome. So I found you through Brian McKenzie.
He
How
was my student from 2001.
I see. And so he did he tell you about CrossFit, and that's how
Yes, right.
CrossFit.
He knew Dave Castro.
I see.
They were in friendship, and he introduced pose method,
Hmm.
and then uh, Glassman knew from uh, Dave about pose method, and they invite me.
Awesome. And then from there, it was just
Yes, right. We had a great time because these both men, Dave and Glassman, the very straightforward people, and Dave particularly incredibly reliable guy,
yes,
and very kind. He delivered everything what he promised to me,
yes,
and I have incredibly good, nice relationship with him.
awesome.
I trust him.
Hmm.
And, but Glassman had kind of attraction to me, like
Yes.
we have a good relationship
Oh,
with
sure,
him. I didn't ask, but it's happened this
sure,
way,
sure. Oh no, because the CrossFit community.
It's one of the best communities, let's say like that.
Yes,
Like I had my worldwide experience with many different communities,
yes.
but I work very profoundly in triathlon
Hmm.
with different countries,
Yes,
high level athletes in national teams, but track and field as well. You see, but CrossFit community it's separate.
yes.
It's so different. I love this
Oh,
community.
yes,
Sometimes they do dumb things, but
yes. Oh, almost not just sometimes, but a lot of times, like almost all the time.
but still I like them.
Yes. No, we love you because I remember, we just want to be, we understand and we buy into the idea of
Right,
being completely fit,
right.
and doing all these things. And so before you, I could tell Greg was trying to bring in all these other types of running
Mhm,
coaches and
mhm.
sprinting coaches, but then once you came in, it was over. Like that was it. Like this, everything here makes sense. So much of it is almost non-debatable, because it's like trying to debate against physics. Which
Uh, Glassman, uh, he's a very smart man.
Mhm.
He's the kind of very tough guy.
Yes,
Sometimes very obnoxious,
yes, very yes,
but and he pushing whatever he wants to. Says I do like his attitude to
yes,
this thing. He is not. He's fearless.
hmm,
This is what I do like. He doesn't give a damn about anything.
yes,
What he wants to, and he bringing very good things.
yes,
So he's not always welcome, but
hmm, hmm.
this is nature.
Of course, yeah, this is it.
But I'm on his side in this case,
Yes,
and I would prefer work with him and support him rather than nice talking guys who do not do anything.
of
He
course,
brought much more useful thing for people than any good talkers from
yes,
that field.
yes,
So for me, it's not choice of that.
of
I
course,
already made it.
of course. Awesome. So I'll bring it back to pose for a little bit. I because I there was a time when I watched everything you said, and I read everything, and uh, there was Brian McKenzie, and then one of my friends, Frank, who was an endurance guy. There was an article that came out, especially when CrossFit was first trying to incorporate pose, and they said there's generally two types that are reading this. You're a CrossFitter who is using endurance training or running to make your CrossFit better, or you're an endurance person who is using CrossFit to make your endurance better. And uh, we sometimes trained at the Santa Monica track. This was years ago, and I guess he ran into two of your, I don't know what you call them, two of your disciples or your students.
I do remember this
Okay,
case.
so
It's
then
a elite runner. It's a Pia Neme.
mhm.
She is Lebanese,
Okay,
and her husband as well. They are a very good friend of mine.
I see.
We have very good, but she was my student.
Okay, yeah, because he said that they were watching him and he was watching them, and they watched him running, and they said this is him telling me what they said. So this is like multiple levels down. So who knows if it's accurate? But he said that they told him that your pull is good, but your running has no soul,
Yes,
and
it's,
that you're
it's,
and no one talks about this. Like this is not a thing that's taught. So
it's an adim.
yeah. So they said your running has no soul, and he's like, what does that mean? Like, what does that even mean? Because we're talking in languages of pose and fall and pull and cadence and
Right.
whatever. And but to be told that your running has no soul is not this, it's not anything that we understand. So he's like, what does that mean? And she said, the soul of the soul of pose is the fall. The soul of running is the
Yeah,
fall.
he
And
expressed very poetically. Right, absolutely.
yeah,
Because it's an engine.
okay. And so, because when I was first taught it, it was a triangle, whereas pose, fall, and pull, where they're all equally important. But the truth, but it's really the fall that is the most important.
Right. It's I always bring the example. Nadim at that time told brilliantly, and I wanted to use his definition of this because it's brilliant. I
Yes.
like it. And Pia told me this story actually, his wife.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
And so I
So they
knew
did tell
this
you.
kid. Yes, and I heard from her already these things.
Oh, okay.
I thought, oh, great! He did very good definition of this thing.
Yes.
But I'm giving a comparison with this thing like that. How we have to perceive, for example, on the pose fall pull is what is this? Pull, it's a cadence kind of thing, but it's not fully like that. And then what does it mean fall? And I'm bringing like that. This is a car, vehicle, right?
Yes.
This engine, and this is a gas tank, right? So who is moving who?
Yes.
Okay. Is it gas tank moving you? Not. Engine. Gas tank is only define how long this engine will work.
I see. That makes sense.
So if you're not falling, who cares about your aerobic capacity?
Right. Right.
It doesn't work.
Yes.
So that gives more clarity for people, this simple explanation.
Yeah, because that was years after I studied under Brian McKenzie, and then because your style of coaching is completely different from from Brian's, and completely different from anybody's. But the minute he said that, he was shocked. But then he also said, "You're right. I am afraid." He said, "I am afraid to fall because in my head, if I fall, I will fall on my face."
Right.
And she said, I forgot exactly what happened, but she's like, you have to trust yourself. Like your running has no soul.
Right.
You have to you must fall.
It's a subconscious level. Most people do not realize that actually they're fearful.
Yes.
Even on the level of subconscious. Why people do not run world records? For example, in the world exists about 700 best runners on endurance run who would run world record in marathon, but only one guy running. And now another guy came with that Kinisa Bikila, very close, 2 seconds only off. Two guys. So what about the others?
Right.
This is what answer come. They have the same engine,
Yes.
like in terms of like aerobic capacity means gas tank.
Gas tank, yeah.
Gas tank. But engine is not.
I see.
They're missing falling, and I have physical evidence of this. Means science behind this. I developed mathematical equations for this and tables where we define which angle of falling this guy has, and there are strict, direct relationships.
Yeah, sure.
Who is falling more
Who's
angle?
falling more?
They are running faster.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
It's called period.
Right.
It's not related with the gas tank.
Sure.
Absolutely not.
Right. It's just who falls
Yes.
more, and that is it.
Yes.
That is because I think people want it to be, and I'm included. People want it to be more complicated than it really is. It really is just falling.
Yes.
Yes.
Nature don't play these games.
Right.
Nature gave to us incredible simple blueprint.
Yes.
And this blueprint is what is the mechanical world around us? It's a gravity.
Yes.
And gravity comes with only two parameters. It's a body weight and free falling. That's it. There's nothing else. If you're talking about beyond of this scope, you're foolishing yourself and others.
Yes. Yes. Makes sense. So I'm not obviously as familiar with the running world as you, but I am curious because I know that just like with any sport, if you're a 50 meter dash person or 100, 200, 400, 800, 1 mile, 5K, 10K, or endurance, there's like sometimes tribal mentality or whatever. So are there are the, has one group accepted pose more than the other group? Like I don't know if that makes sense, but have sprinters understood and liked pose better than endurance people, or have endurance people
Um,
liked pose better than sprinters?
so far, it's in the triathlon community where you work more than 20 years, they accepted because the results were very good.
I see.
But in the running community, they do not even directly not,
Mhm.
but indirectly they took it. Like Alberto Salazar at point in 2004, it was published an article in Runner's World magazine about pose method, and he was interviewed about pose method. He was screaming over there, everything what I know about running is against pose method.
Mm.
And then after that, his students run pose method.
Really?
Yes, he taught exactly pose method. Only he didn't call it pose
So it's
method.
just envy,
The,
professional envy.
stubborn
I
mind,
see.
like because who I am, I'm high jumper,
Right.
and he's Alberto Salazar.
I understand.
Now he is banned for the doping.
Yes. No humility.
I knew about this long time ago
Yes.
about doping.
Yes.
It's among professionals.
Mhm.
We know inside. Obviously, I will not go and start opening my
Of
mouth.
course, of course.
It's unethical. It's
Yes.
not my role and
Yes.
not my business to catch someone. But I knew he
Of course.
using.
Of
And
course.
when this story, sorry, I
No, please.
go like detour.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When I came to US in 94, 95, and then it was time when Lance Armstrong came up.
Yes.
And in 95 or 96, they asked me, what do you think about his performance? I told, it's a drug enhancement. But I told, it doesn't neglect part of his athletic things.
Sure.
He's the best cyclist anyway. He's using, yeah, and others on the Tour de France, 99% of people are using drugs.
Yes.
And he's using as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not defined him as his personality and his athletic capacity is what he is. He's the best cyclist.
Yes.
I told them. They were mad on me that I told that he using
Right.
drug, and he never was caught.
Right.
He never was in positive
Yes.
drug checking, but he revealed himself. And then people whom I was quarreling about these things, they thinking that I was mad Russian and
Right.
I'm operating with the bullshit. And when it came up, they couldn't look at my eyes
Of
anymore,
course. Of course.
because they understood that yes, I was right.
You're right.
I knew these things, and I told what he was using. And it was exactly. It's a science, I'm
Yes.
scientist. I knew what the hell he's using. When I saw first time Marilyn, uh, uh, um, uh, the sprinter, American sprinter, Mary Jones.
Okay.
Marion Jones.
Okay.
Marion Jones. When I saw her first time, I thought, wow, how much dope there. People again got on me cranky.
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 years later, she was completely ruined, and it was proven she using and her husband using, which I told, that
Yep.
Gatlin for me was like immediately. There are very obvious evidence
Yes.
of using drugs. A body shape
Mhm, mhm.
change,
Yes.
You cannot. I have very long experience with knowing how it affects people.
So you
When
can
I
just
saw-
look. You can just look at them and see.
Right.
Yes.
I saw Gatlin, I'm told, dope.
Mm-hmm.
Twice. He was banned twice.
Yeah.
I would ban him forever,
Yes.
and he's still running.
Yes.
And I have inside information as well about
Yes.
swimmers and so on.
Of course.
But obviously, I am not going to put this information outside.
Of course.
All these cynical things about who is using, who is not, is all bullshit.
Yes.
Like when they jump on Russians, like Americans not using.
As if they're not using. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not enough for you, Lance Strong, Marion Jones, and
Right.
Gatlin. It's like, come on, guys.
Yes.
It's unfair.
Yes. If you're
So-
in this field at all, you kind of, it's one of those things you just kind of accept but never talk about. Like if you're going to operate at the top, it's almost impossible to compete
Right.
without it, and it's just a matter of who gets caught or not.
I
Mm.
was frightened that, for example, Usain Bolt will be uh, under this scrutiny. It will ruin track and field
Yes.
completely. I was so fearful, and it's God bless he left
Yes.
now.
Could,
And
but looking at Usain, could you say that he's also doping, or
oh, this is deep question. I would prefer things that he didn't use.
yes, yes,
I would, you see, I'm telling
of
that
course,
I would prefer,
prefer to think that he doesn't.
yes,
Yes,
because he's still genius.
yes.
No matter of this, he's still genius
How is he a genius? Is
because drugs do not allow perform this level.
I see.
It's
Really?
no, it's proven already.
Mm.
It was research done with drugs and without drugs, and people who think they're using drugs, they perform like they're using drugs. You see, it's effect of placebo.
Yes. Okay.
And I do remember I was healing one girl, a world class level distance runner. I cannot relieve this name,
Sure.
and I healed her, and she was happy. It was a
Mhm.
hamstring injury. I healed her in 2 lessons,
Wow.
and she was so grateful for me that she returned back to the field. And I asked her like an intimate question,
Hmm.
like, "Okay, I know you're using drugs.
Hmm.
Like, just tell me how often you're using,
Yes.
what period you're using." She like, "Okay," and she told, "I cannot run without this shit." I'm like, "Oh,
Mm.
so it's all about mindset."
Hmm.
You see,
Yes.
that is clear, and I was sure about this about many people, but look, drugs used by cyclists in Tour de France all over,
Yes.
but nobody become Lance Armstrong.
Right.
Lance Armstrong still Lance Armstrong.
Yes.
So it can't be taken from him as
Sure.
a cyclist. He's still best
Still the
cyclist,
best. Yes.
and this is my opinion.
Yes.
It's sorry that I, about drugs. I'm thinking like that. It should be open
Hmm.
in professional field. You
Hmm.
want to die? Okay, it's your
Yes.
business. You sign up, death waiver,
Yep.
and go. Otherwise, we are cynical.
Yes.
Look, it's a double standard.
Hmm.
We have to open this field like that,
Yes.
and then allow clean people to perform as well. And
Yes.
who one of the thing what was driving me forward with development of training process, which I developed too. It's a post method in
Yes.
training. Is was to give athletes something powerful which will substitute drugs.
Yes.
I call it, I'm dragging you, I'm doping you with gravity,
Hmm. Hmm.
like
I
that.
see. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
So it was one of my inspirational thing.
I see.
And I was succeeding. When I trained British team, my guys run best running in the field with no drugs.
Ah,
I know this because I was on
you
them.
were on them. Yeah.
Yeah, and men who run first time under 30 minutes 10K in triathlon was my student.
Wow. Wow. Because I remember as a younger when I was younger, I had this debate with another friend. Because when I was younger, I was so naive about it, right? Because I was just like, well, we don't do anything. You're no cheating. And my friend made he was making an argument about steroids then, and then I guess EPO now and whatever. He said if you want to have it, here's the reality of the situation. We had this conversation. He's like, on the one hand, you can let them take whatever they want. Let them take whatever they want. This is their risk and this is their choice,
Right.
and they're only doing it for this one moment. And let's see how far you can push the body. Or on the other hand, let them take nothing, except for food. But as time goes on, those rules are going to be very difficult to follow. Whereas on the other hand, you could literally just take whatever you want. And like you said, he didn't. We it never occurred to us to sign a waiver, but it was just like just take whatever you want and let's see who plays out. And so therefore, if you're allowed to take everything, there is no cheating because it's impossible. And as I've watched more and seen more, it's hard for me to argue against that because it makes sense and it's happening anyway. You just
Right. But the drugs are substitute something what called perception.
yes.
Like um, historical experience, what the written records of incredible performance of people is showing that people in extreme situation performing without drugs level of performance of world records
Mm.
at the very early stages, like it was a case, like a Guinness records. Like one guy ran away from the prison who jumped over the fence, uh, and who was chasing him, police guy, was track and field athlete. When he saw that this guy jump over the fence, he didn't chase him. Continue. He come back to office and brought the measurement. And
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
because when they measure this fence, what he the wall he jump over, it was more than world records, existing world record
You're
in high
kidding.
jumping. Yes,
And this is actual documented.
yes, yes, it was.
When?
I forgot right now this thing. I have to dig. It was a documentary.
Yes, yes.
And another documentary in concentration camp during the Second World War.
Yes.
Czech or Polish high jumper, record European champion in high jumping,
Yes.
ran away from concentration camp, jumping twice through the fence, which was more than European record in high jumping.
Amazing.
You know, it's a documentary.
Of course. Yes. Amazing. See, because the thing is, people know. I think people know that this exists. But because if it's not in a controlled sporting atmosphere, somehow it like doesn't count. But it should be counted more, because
yes, because perception is the opener of your potential. Really, you know.
yeah. Let's talk about that, because more than once when you're teaching drills and you're walking people through running, more than once you're saying that these drills, and maybe you tell me if I'm misinterpreting it, but you said these drills are not meant to improve your running. They are meant to improve your perception of running.
Yes, I'm repeating this all the time.
Yeah, and
because it's the main reason.
yes, because I remember one of the mind-blowing things I've had. So Frank, the person your person said has no soul, right? He was my coach, and so we went to this hill, and it was nighttime, and he said, I'm gonna do this hill drill, and you just have to trust me. I was like, sure, of course, I trust you 100%. And he said, close your eyes, and it was at night. He says, close your eyes. I'm like, okay. So we're facing this hill. I'm closing my eyes, and he said, assume pose. So I'm like here, and then he put his hand on my hand, and he says, okay, start lean and pull. So basically, start running.
Mhm.
So I started running, and as I'm running, it's scary running with your eyes closed, and so that's why his hand was on my hand. So I could feel him pulling me, and so he told me to stop. And when he told me to stop, he told me to open my eyes. And I opened my eyes. I was at the top of the hill, and so I had run up this hill with my eyes closed, and it felt like just regular running. And he's like, when after I was done, he's like, did the hill disappear? And I was like, yeah. And I was completely mind blown. And what the lesson obviously he was trying to teach us was that as you're approaching a hill, you're already making it hard. Like it's hard before you get there. But if you just take it as is, it's just the same thing. So
it's a funny thing that I showed this thing in 2010 on the San Diego summit.
Yes.
For CrossFit coaches. It was a very steep hill there in the University of San Diego.
Yeah.
There. And I told them, okay, guys, I would like to impress you and show you the power of perception.
Yes.
And we did this run uphill like that. They were completely blown.
Yes, mind blown. Completely mind blown. And
I taught these things in the Mexican team when I work with the Mexican national team in triathlon. We were in the hills. It was a training process to the championship, and I took them on this spot, and we put hard monitors and timing, and we did acceleration in 200 meters uphill, and I showed them when the open eyes, heart rate, time, and then close eyes, and when they saw how the same distance uphill is the same time, and when close eyes, heartbeat was 10 beats less, they were shocked.
Amazing. Yeah, that's how do you not be shocked? That's just insane. So much of this training, and it took me a while, because so much of this training is arguably not about running. It's about life, right?
Of course.
And just like all training. And I wasn't aware of the beginning of your story where you weren't trying to be the running guy. You were just trying to be the track and field guy.
Yes.
But nobody cares. Like nobody, there's not a demand.
Yeah.
The demand is for running.
Right.
But the irony is when you try to give it to the world through conventional means, like universities, whatever, they reject you.
No. It was rejected. All universities I approach in the US.
Yes.
No one accepted this. They would say, "Oh, we have our own scientists," something bullshit like that.
Yes. Yes.
Only USA Triathlon accepted me.
Yes.
This is what I got exposure.
Right.
And we did research, even science. For first PhD was written not in Russia. It was done in Albuquerque University, but the practical part was done in Colorado Springs Olympic Training Center.
Yes.
And the first PhD in pose method was head coach of USA Triathlon team, George Dallum.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's a Tinnery professor in tech school in Colorado Springs.
Yes.
He still continues this, and we are friends.
Awesome.
This is good.
You see, because that hurts me to hear, because Greg Glassman was also, I'm sure you know his story, but Greg Glassman was also kicked out of every conventional gym that he was a part of because his results were better.
Yes,
and
I know this from him.
Yeah, he told you, right?
Yes,
and then and now those very same gyms who has kicked him out are incorporating, like, CrossFit stuff. So it's just like you're the one guy who rejected your teachings, but then he turns around and teaches his kids that.
No, it was a brilliant idea. We talk about this, having dinner together.
Yeah.
And he told me how it happened from his side story.
Yes.
And he told me, this it was taken like GPP of Russian GPP. It's a general physical preparation.
Yes.
It's because in CrossFit for me it was nothing new.
Yes.
But he geniusly put this in one package together,
Yeah.
and it's become CrossFit. You
Yes.
know, but there is no any one exercise which I didn't know.
Yes.
Because we use all of them.
Right.
None. I could bring more.
Right. Right.
But it's not necessary.
Yes. Yeah.
So in this case, it was a very nice acceptance of each other.
Yes.
We had no controversy on this matter.
Yes. Yeah. Because I was going to ask you. Obviously, CrossFit is very friendly and accepting of the pose method. The community loves you and loves your message. But from the outside, what was your first thoughts on CrossFit? Because you said it was
positive.
Yes.
I only concerned if they will use running, it would be not pose method. So this was a little bit controversial, but Mackenzie did good job, and he introduced these things. And then when I met personally Dave Castro and Glassman, we had very good bond.
Yes.
And since that time, it was all good.
When the CrossFit Games are on, so I don't know if you were around in 2009, but that's 2009. Were you around then?
Yes, we have been from 2007. This is what Glassman told me. I forgot even.
Okay, yeah. So I remember in 2009 they had a 1 rep max snatch event, and they brought Mike Bergener on the field, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever. But I know that running is a large part of not just CrossFit but life, right? And so, do you have they ever brought you on to like critique or look at the running events for the athletes?
Yes, we did. This is when a few consecutive. First time it was like way back in Los Angeles in this convention place. This
the StubHub.
Right. Yeah. I did this, and Dave Castro asked me to look at this. And in a personal note, I told it sucks.
I didn't want to say it because as I'm knowing what I know too, I feel like CrossFit, they're much better at the weightlifting and much better at the gymnastics versus
the running. And then you see, Dave is a very smart boy, you know, and he's intelligent and the very like working on himself to develop his understanding many things. And he started understanding like a businessman that CrossFit should get more diversity. And we had very nice dinner with him together. He kind of express his desire to widen these things. I told
Yes.
my applaud to you.
Yes.
You're moving in the right direction.
Yes.
And he told, we had a good agreement in this vision. I told, if pose method will be brought like running into the community, it will be beneficial. Think like CrossFit has own uh, benefits. If two things connected together, like runners will get the CrossFit.
100%.
Yeah, it's like it will extend CrossFit
100%.
so much more because running field is much bigger than CrossFit field.
Yes.
By participants, it's millions and millions
Yes.
runners.
Yes.
So it's a good direction to move. So
Yes.
and David made very good development in this case.
Mhm.
Look at this the last three CrossFit games.
Yes.
How much running now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much.
So he done very good development.
Yeah, because I'm also impressed with um there's Pose TV, right, on YouTube. There's the Pose method on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I'm very happy about that because CrossFit just took away their Facebook and Instagram, but and I understand why, but I love the fact that because a lot of old school coaches don't care about the internet and they don't want the social media presence. Was that your idea, or is it your was it somebody else on your staff?
It's my son.
It is your son.
He is like modern time thinking guy.
Yes.
But CrossFit, I would say, by the efforts of Dave Castro,
Yes.
took Pose Method online program.
Yes.
It's very popular.
Yes.
We're having lots of people sign up for this, and I'm
Yes.
happy with that.
Oh yeah.
But it was done by Dave Castro.
Yes.
He asked us bring this thing. We brought because we had this material. It was the first online teaching from CrossFit, but it was Pose Method.
Oh yeah. I remember when they were the first lesson I learned was the bouncing thing on the balls of the feet versus the heel, and it was such a mind-blowing thing. It's like, if you don't like it landing here, why do you run like that? And I'm just like, fuck, I don't know, And so whereas this is forever, like you can just keep going.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily this. You have to learn one thing, that movement is the falling.
Yes.
But falling never happened from the hills.
Right. Right.
So logic is broken.
Yes.
If you're running on a hill, like,
right.
right. Like, where are you falling from?
Yes.
From the hills? No.
No.
That's it.
That is it.
Question is closed.
Right. So I remember when at CrossFit LA, I watched you take this kind of older, bigger gentleman, and he had like a limp, and I didn't understand what you did, but in the space of one or two drills, you like fixed him. So, what is the most? Because to me that was a very dramatic and mind-blowing thing. But to you, what has been the biggest, I guess, healing event? I don't know what to call it,
No,
but like the big
falling.
Is really just that.
Yes,
Yeah.
We're deliberately developing intention of falling.
Yeah.
This is what healing part, because you're falling into the blueprint of nature.
Yes.
Because movement is falling.
Right.
That's it. So when you start falling, you start incorporate something what enhance into you in billions of years.
Yes.
So healing start.
I see.
And the loading was already different immediately.
Right.
You first of all, it's cut off unnecessary part, which breaking part.
Right.
Like you cut off loading,
Right.
which not supposed to be there.
Yes.
Second one, because you're falling, decay of falling is a dropping load, not increasing load.
Yes.
So more you're falling, faster you're running,
Yes.
less actually dramatic effect
Right.
on your tissues.
Right. Right.
This is what people don't understand.
So it's almost like learning pose is as much unlearning as it is learning.
It's correct, right?
Like it's almost, you have to unlearn this and just learn this much, but it's about unlearning all of this baggage.
But this is the point. We don't care about unlearning. We care about changing perception.
Yes.
That's why drills and so. And when it's happened, dominating parts become core of your perception. That unlearning part is fall off by itself.
Yeah, but yeah.
You don't need
Don't
to
focus
tell
on learning
we
it.
unlearn. No, it's will out.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I mean, so what's the next step? Like, what's the next 5 years look like? Do you have
Hmm.
a plan for? Uh,
Yes, we have lots of plans. It's,
okay.
on I'm trying to not get too greedy, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Because I remember you said that.
Extending the wall with like sound like a little bit ambitious, something, but it's what we're doing, you know,
Yes.
because right now our books are published on 16 languages.
Hmm.
So it goes slowly, like capturing, and people trust this because the results is there.
Amazing.
Yes. Next thing we would like to publish. I published a couple books in Russian, which never came into English yet.
Yes.
It needs to be It's like pose method for track and field.
Yes.
For
Yes.
all events, this,
Right. Right.
which I done in Russia,
Yes.
and then general movement theory, explaining how movement is, where it's coming from, where its origin, and how it's formed, what kind of structure, universal structure of movement, and how we have to understand this and transfer in any movement what we do,
Yes.
that the universal structure, because this is what how nature build up,
Yes.
and what is behind this structure, like a role of perception,
Mhm.
role of senses,
Mhm.
role of our emotions, role of our thinking. You see, it's all structure,
Yes.
and there are hierarchy, very very strong hierarchy,
Right.
and people, coaches are misleading the things. They like the main thing is your mind, and something like that. If your movement is wrong, your mind
Right.
will not help.
Right. Right.
You see, this is like if you have there like in Japan, people like we run with the heart. All right, all right. But if you don't fall,
Of course.
your heart will
No,
be broken.
the heart. Yes. Yes.
So this is what general movement theory
Yes.
about, and I'm. It's published in Russia. It's a university course,
Mhm.
but not in English yet.
I see.
So I'm working right now to transfer it into English. These things, um, and I hope we'll.
I can't wait. Are you still coaching? Like, are you still coaching clients, or right now you're just
Yes, I
focusing?
do.
Okay.
Not many,
Yes.
very few, for pleasure.
Yes. So are they like high end competitive?
Yes,
Okay.
there are elite athletes,
Yes.
and a couple of my.
Do you coach like regular people? Like,
Yes,
okay.
but like one guy from Australia,
Yes.
but he's my friend already.
I see. I
He
see.
is with me like 14 years.
Yeah.
He's more friend than
Then
my
client.
student. Yeah,
Yes.
but he's still. He's so happy with this program, and like his wife happy because he's healthy. You know,
I see.
his friends who he starts with,
Yes.
these triathlon things, they were already broken and gone a long time ago
Yeah.
through many surgeries, and
Yes.
he's still
He's still-
performing.
Good.
And he's performing. He's 56 years old, and he's still on the podium.
Yep.
He's competing with former professionals,
Yes.
and he's amateur completely.
Amazing.
He's a business executive guy, you know.
Mhm.
So he has no background in sport,
Yes.
but he is now competing with the guys who have background, professional background.
Amazing. Amazing. So okay, so the obviously you're trying to you're gonna spread the good word, and you're gonna spread the message as much as you can, and then because I remember at one of your things you said that it's really your son and your daughter who books your schedule and does all the social media, and you said you're just a slave. You said you're just the slave, and you do what they tell you to do.
It's correct. This is how it's happened. You know? I don't care now. Like only like I'm getting like sometimes by email
Yes.
like oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to see you.
Yes.
And like then Severin is calling me like, okay, I book your hotel,
Yeah.
I book your car, I
Yes.
book your flight, go.
So when they were growing up, did you try to teach them
Yes.
pose? Okay.
They very much familiar with pose.
Okay.
They are not athletes,
Yes.
but they understand movement
Mhm.
much higher than even coaches. You
Yes.
know, Severin could be easily certified as a master coach.
Yes.
This how high level, because he was going with me
Mm-hmm.
from age of 7 years old
Mm-hmm.
around all my coaching conferences, my trainings, all these things.
Yes.
And plus he was who was uh, put my books into these things, layouts and so on.
I see.
He was doing this, and my daughter as well.
Yes.
So it's not just me, you know.
Yes.
This was a very good
They're
team
like your
work,
dream team.
right?
Yeah.
And my wife as an editor.
Oh,
She's a PhD in English philology.
perfect. Perfect editor.
Yeah.
Are you still able to run, like you yourself, for
Yeah,
pleasure?
I'm high jumper, you know, but
I see.
but still running, it's pleasant thing for me.
Yes.
I'm running in around my place where I live. We have a very good 4 kilometers golf course,
Yes.
and I run at night
Oh,
usually.
beautiful.
Because I don't like with crowds,
Of course.
and it's a little bit hot. I run early in the morning or very late at night. When I finish my writing, like these things, I just take.
Yes.
And it's very warm.
Yes.
It's very nice. It's greenery. It's, it's a golf course.
Yes. Do you have a favorite distance?
Not really.
Okay. Do you have is there a favorite? Do you have a favorite race to watch, like the 800 or the 400 or?
Not. I'm not so. Um, racist.
I see. I see. I see. You don't like run. Okay.
I like. I love everything. You
Yes.
know? And when there are outstanding guy running, it's always interesting me. That lately I did very much my input into the marathon. So I did studies there. I did camps in China, big camps for amateurs, like 60, 100 people, 4 months program. I developed this for this, and very successful, you know. 93% of PBs, you know. So
Yes.
and some people run improve for 4 months more than 1 hour, you know, in the marathon.
Wow.
It's like
That's crazy.
Yes, it's crazy, but people when people get accustomed that the improvement like that, they consider, oh, it's okay.
I see.
And then no program,
Right.
no improvement.
Right.
They're like,
Oh yeah. It's like I actually have to work. Yeah.
Yes,
I actually have to train.
So I have very good things, and if it's sprinter there, I have my cerebral palsy girl whom I work from Russia. I work with her from 2007 when she was just teenager, and she right now already a mom and a very awarded girl. She was in London, 3 gold medals in sprinting she got, and she was European record holder on 100 200 meters. She's 6 times world champion, and I'm preparing her right now for Dubai Paralympic track and field world championship.
Awesome. You said that Lance was the best cyclist.
Yes.
Do you have who is the best runner? Wait, Lance is the best cyclist, but do you have
we have to go because in track and field there's many distances.
Yes.
So I would say like that. Inevitably, in the present time, it's Eliud Kipchoge.
Okay.
And his technique is very distinctive.
Okay.
Kenisi Bikila, I like him. He world record holder still on 5K and 10K from 2004 2005.
Yes.
But he transferred to the thing, but something was not matching. He's supposed to run much faster than he ran. Even this 2 hour 1:41, it's not his fastest capacity.
Wow.
I calculated these things.
Yes.
Both of them could run under 2 hours.
Wow.
But perception is what the key.
I see.
It's not the capacity, the aerobic capacity.
Right.
No, they're giants. They are Rolls Royces.
Wow.
But this is perception is the missing part.
Yes. So if their coach could make one change, it would literally just be the perception.
Basically, yes, because they manage already many other things like temperature handling, food, anything. Like they already experience. They very good with that.
Yes.
The missing part is that part.
Yes.
From my point of view, because they already performing so long and so high level, they hone these things already very well. They handle this very well. But missing part is that I wrote the article about this. I don't know. Severin's supposed to publish this, but he's still holding this.
Yeah.
I did analysis of Eliud Kipchoge, and showed what is the incremental part of falling angle is what missing.
Yes.
He hold cadence through entire race, but he missing falling angle.
Yes. If
Yeah,
you just,
1/10 of degree
wow.
only. He would run 1/10 bigger angle,
Mhm.
and it will be 1 minute faster, like like 1 hour 59:11. This is what.
Wow. That was your calculation.
Yes, right.
Amazing, amazing. Um, Dr. Romanov, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah,
We talk about something what I consider very important for me and
Yes.
very interesting for me. It's nothing here like loading me or aggravating.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to. And I actually do have some selfish questions if
Oh,
I
please
can
do.
answer. So, because sometimes when I coach people, I remember you saying once that when you listen to coaches and they say just go take a jog nice and easy, and you just I could see that you just didn't like it. And I understand that. And I didn't know the alternative, so I remember when I came back from a posting, it would be tough for me to say take a jog at a like a 21-degree angle with a 180 cadence. So I don't know how to, unless they've been trained before.
Right.
How do I produce a jog that's efficient where they're not sprinting?
It's correct. This is what we're falling into the trap.
Mm-hmm.
We have to define first and teach our students what is easy part.
Yes.
There are easy part by heart rate.
Mm-hmm.
So exists the level of this performance by heart rate traditionally,
Yeah.
like for example, an aerobic threshold, for example.
Yeah.
It's a very specific calculation for this exists defined in the exercise physiology, or it exists level of working capacity, lowest level. It's
Yes.
120, for example.
120. Okay.
It's between 120 140
Yes.
is a like easy part
Yes.
because it's below of your working capacity.
Yes.
This is nothing really gives you any adaptive effect. You
Right.
see, so easy. When I'm telling to my guy run easy, he knows range of these things.
He knows 120 to 140.
Yes,
I
right.
see.
And cadence goes with that as well.
Yes.
He knows what kind of cadence to that level he is going.
Yes.
Because I taught him these things.
Right.
And now I'm very often telling even what kind of angle he should run because again he knows what is.
Yes.
Or I'm reading, calculating relatively respectfully relationship stride lengths by the Garmin, for example, and the angle of falling.
Mm-hmm.
They are matching. I developed these tables. So I'm telling him, keep this stride length because this is angle of falling what we need.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Then when I'm telling this word like run easy pace, he knows where he's supposed to be. Then it's defined. Otherwise it's blurry.
Right.
What is it? For example, my elite guys would run in Australia. We are holding camp with the British team.
Yeah.
And one American guy came who was from the past, and he asked me permission to run with my boys.
Yes.
I told fine, run. And I told they run today easy 10K.
Sure.
But easy 10K was a 35 minutes.
That is crazy.
And this guy was almost dead, you know. And my guys, masochistic guys, like they were enjoying torturing him, you know, because they ran and their heart rate 140, his heart almost 180. You see, that is perception.
Yes.
I didn't realize at the evening time he told, "Oh, I almost dead." You know?
Right. Yeah, because as a coach in the moment, if you have a class, it's easy for me to say do 10 deadlifts with the empty bar. They know what it means, But for me to say 400-meter jog, 120 to 140 cadence at a whatever like a 20-something degree angle. So it's I remember trying to figure that out, but truly the only way is to continuously train them and to continuously.
No, you have to be very precise with these things. You have to define boundary of like what you mean like easy, you know, or what means hard. And I'm not using hard or any bullshit like that. I'm giving very precise zone where you
Yes.
have to be.
Yes.
It's not like today we're working hard.
Right.
What the hell is that? You know,
Sure.
I'm telling. We're on this zone.
Yes.
Like for example, we're running 3 times by 800 meters, for example. You know, and I'm telling this is what your time zone,
Yes.
and your heart rate should be no more than this.
Yes.
Your
Understood.
cadence should be like that.
Right.
So he getting frame.
Yes.
I call it frame of training.
Yes.
There's no hard, easy or thing. We have to perform in this zone.
Right. It is mathematically precise.
Yes, right.
Non-debatable.
No,
Yes.
I developed these tables, equations for these things. So my guy is coming. I have a profile of
Yes.
him. I know where he is. You know, I'm not telling him we're running today incredibly hard.
Sure.
What is that?
Sure.
I have no idea myself. What is that?
Yes.
So I'm giving him you running table.
Right.
This zones. You know,
Right.
like you running in this zone
Yes.
3 times. Maybe you will run only 2 times. I don't know your condition right now, but this is our target.
Yes.
If he cannot perform these things, and next time he's going, I'm reducing
Yes.
this zone
Yes.
because he couldn't handle this.
Right.
By heart rate, by cadence, by time, you see both of them for me sign
Yes.
as he lousy.
Yes.
Why? I don't know. Maybe he had hard time with his girlfriend, you know.
Right.
And now,
Yeah. Bad night.
yeah,
previous
right.
night, yeah.
And so we have to adjust immediately. This is how I'm approaching to
Yes.
this.
Yes.
No using hard
Right.
things.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, as a coach, that was one of the, because I understand. You know, I'd like to think that I understand. If you were to tell us that we would know, but just how do I give it to my people? That was the trickier thing. How to fit it into our program, and so, but now that I know, it's really just a matter of training them more and working on their perception more.
Yeah, because the perception is changing other things, you know.
Yes.
When your perception comes to the point that it's easy for you, do you understand? Your heart
Yes.
rate goes, psh.
Right.
When the heel you do not see with visual thing, your perception is telling it's fine.
Right.
And your heart rate,
Right. Right.
and you run uphill.
Yes. It was just amazing.
You see, what happened over there?
Right.
What, you become suddenly more endurant,
Right.
more strong?
Right.
No,
Right.
it's a perception change.
Yes.
When people comes on the boxing fighting, you know, perception is what killing there. You're coming like, oh, Michael Tyson. Oh God, I'm dead. Yeah, you're dead.
Yes.
Because your perception already told you
Sure.
you're dead. I had I call it Mexican syndrome, like almost insulting, but it
Yes.
was
No.
a national team
Yep.
work. And my guy, very talented guy,
Yeah.
with incredible physiological the baggage, you know,
Yes. Yes.
like 87, 86 VH max. I mean, top.
Right.
And this guy couldn't run faster than 31 minutes, you know. It's
For what distance?
10K.
10K.
Yes, but he was capable to run 28. Do you understand?
Wow.
This is what.
Is it only because he?
Yes, you're right.
I see.
And we're coming to the race, and he's like, "Oh, Americans here, I'm second." Some kind of like,
I
"Oh,
see.
this is Australian, I'm third." And like,
Yes.
"Oh my goodness, you know,
Yes.
you're counting back.
Right.
You're not going to fight it." Like, once I was so mad, and we were in Staka, Lhasa Staka place, and it was a Japanese team was working, came together
Yes.
like workout,
Right.
and we were swimming in this stream.
Yes.
Let's say it's a spring water coming. It's like a river,
Yes.
beautiful place, and we're swimming over there. This 1,000 meters back and forth like that, and my guy going behind the Japanese. I'm like, first time we finished.
Yeah.
I'm telling him in the man's language, like,
Right. Right.
why you behind?
Yes.
It's your soil.
Yes.
It's your country.
Right.
And he is not faster swimmer than you.
Right.
Why are you behind him
Yes.
watching his ass?
Right. He's not better than you.
Yes.
Right.
Because he's Japanese?
Right.
Oh, come
I
on.
see.
I could respect nationality.
Sure.
Like in sport, come on.
Right.
You are giving
Yes.
him
You're giving him the win.
leadership.
Right.
uh, delivering him
Right. You're
on the
just handing it
plate.
to him. Right.
I'm like, you idiot.
Right.
He was like, this is what, and I call it Mexican syndrome.
Yes.
You see?
Because yes, I understand. Yeah, because they it's like before it had started, you've already won or lost before the race.
Right.
Yes.
I had quarreling the conversation on the dinner time at this place where we stay, and I told whole the team my opinion about like guys. I told if you have this mentality, you will never win anything.
Yes.
You have to change.
Yes.
You have to be proud who you are,
Right.
because you're not lesser or worse than others.
Right.
You are talented as much as they are.
Yes.
So change your mind,
Yes.
your perception, who you are.
Yes.
They were like, I would be surprised if somebody will jump on me.
Yes.
But no, they swallow this,
Right.
and they understood
Yes.
that I'm right.
Yes.
I had no one negative word towards to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good conversation, but
Good.
unfortunately, that team at that time
they won.
didn't change. They couldn't. It's a upbringing.
Yes.
It should be done from the childhood.
As a childhood, yeah.
And they were developed wrong way.
Yes.
Like we are Mexicans,
Right.
and I'm like, oh come on.
Right.
Americans in the case like sometimes obnoxiously
Yes.
overwhelming, like
Yes. Right.
like that.
Right.
You are nobody. You piece of
Yes.
crap.
Yes.
But that's
Of course, it's the perception, yeah. And I'm sure you've seen the reverse.
Yes, right.
Too.
The reverse is ugly,
Yes.
But it's better than
we're losing.
I
Yeah.
would prefer this ugliness.
Yeah.
You can work with.
Yes, like winning ugly versus losing pretty. Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yes,
right.
I understand. But okay, I'm gonna let you go now. But thank you so much for
Oh,
coming
my
on the
pleasure.
show.
Thank
Yeah,
you for digging into my
Oh, yeah.
soul.
Yeah, because it's been said, never meet your heroes, but I would say this has been such a pleasure and such a
It's
honor.
flattering.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate this very
Yes,
much.
but-
And I had a pleasure time with you.
Yeah, hopefully we can do it again.
Of
And
course.
I'll Severin has been great to me, and doing it's an honor for me to do the shoot, and hopefully it'll be good enough to be on the website and all
Right,
that
it's
stuff.
beneficial for everyone because what we're bringing, it's incredible. We have almost 500 videos like that. Now you can pull out of whatever you want, and there it
Yeah.
gives you idea and guidance where you're going.
Yes.
There are no ambiguity like do kind of things aside. No, it's a very specific
Right.
direction.
Right.
And I'm glad that how he understood the concept and they are very talented boys. They created right now like a benchmarks in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else has this kind of
No,
level of videos.
Right, no, it's. I'm so glad that that the pose methodology and you have embraced the potential of the internet, and the potential of social media. I know there's a lot of bad that has probably come out because I think to me the internet is really just it reveals character and reveals intent. So if you were good from the start, you're going to be better because you're trying to give a message. But if you're bad from the start, you're just going to be worse.
Yes.
So
Intention of Paul's method from beginning was to give that, even it was the first very particular field of people whom was addressed. It was not for public.
Right.
I didn't dream about it because I was university
Right.
paid by government.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was my goal is to give these students.
Yes.
It's like 200 people whom was addressed this,
Right.
But I'm happy now that extended
Yes.
and much higher than I was expecting.
Of course. So I'm gonna ask too. I think this is a good one. There's people who are listening to me who really enjoy running, but that's a very small. That's a very small percentage. Most of the percentage, I'm sure you're used to this too, is CrossFitters or people who don't work at all who are scared of running, and no matter how much no matter what I tell them, it's still something scary for them. What is your advice for people who are just starting to run or they want to start running, but they're just scared?
Yeah, because scary it's coincide with lack of skill.
Mm-hmm.
This is all goes like that.
Yeah.
If you are not good driver, you cannot drive on fast
Right.
car.
Right.
It will scare you because this is what limitations.
Right.
So skill is opening thing for getting a higher level performance. Aerobic the development will take you so far.
Yes.
Because speed of running comes not from aerobic capacity,
Right.
but from falling.
From falling. Yes.
So my advice is very simple. You have to learn skill of
Yes.
falling.
Yes.
And skill of falling only exists in pose method.
Yes.
No way else.
No other method.
Yes, and it gives you very clear message what to do, how to do. Very clear guidance.
Yes.
No bullshit,
Yes.
of strength, power, all
Right.
this nonsense what people operate with, like make a power stride. I don't know what the hell
Right.
is that.
Right.
I have no idea.
Yes.
I have education in this field. I know what is power in physical sense, but what they are asking to do,
Yes.
it's nonsense.
Yes.
So drop this nonsense and start do very earthy things.
Right.
Earth telling fall
Right.
to run.
Right.
It's a gravitational law.
Yes.
And you cannot avoid this. It's not law of Dr. Romanov,
Right. Right.
My goal in this case was not invent the running, it's discover to
Discovery.
run.
Yes.
And this is what I did.
Yes.
This is what science generally does.
Right.
Science is only discovering. Invention is a secondary level of science.
Right.
It's an implementation of discovery.
Yes. Yes.
This is what we have to understand. Method is an invention. It means how to apply gravity
Right.
in the movement.
Right.
That is a pose method came.
Yes.
But first thing is a discovery.
Learn the skill. Yeah. So, yeah, I do like that. I think a lot of people will understand your fear comes from lack of skill.
Oh, of course.
Obviously, if you're not
absolutely.
good at something, of course you're going to be scared of it. But if you're good at
Imagine
something,
like a guy approaching to the girl and
Sure.
he doesn't know how to interact with the girl, he will end up with a disaster,
sure,
you know?
of course.
And his fear will be like, oh,
Yeah.
she's not from my league, that. You never get married,
Yes.
I was obnoxious, came to my wife and told,
Right.
okay, let's go out. And she told, you're a very obnoxious guy. I'm like, yes, I am,
But now you're married with,
Yes,
with children. Yeah.
50 years later, she's like, oh, you did the right thing. Even she proposed marriage, not me.
Oh, good.
Because
That's
this
a
is my skill.
very high skill. Very high skill. That's the epitome of skill.
Yeah.
When the woman can propose the marriage. Yes.
That's right. I'm happy with that.
Yes.
Otherwise, probably I wouldn't.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Romanov. Hopefully, we'll get you back at Spry Society next time.
Lovely. I will be happy to come back.